Hey folks, it's TommyTopdecker back in the house once again, and today I'm very excited to launch a brand new feature on this channel, and the new feature I'm launching is called Reserved List Special Request. So let me explain all about Reserved List Special Request. I've been noticing lately in the community there's been a lot of hatred towards the reserve list. There's been folks saying that they cannot afford reserve list cards. They've been saying that the reserve list should be abolished. They've been saying that the reserve list prevents them from enjoying Magic the Gathering. Well, today, as I launch the reserve list special request, I'm going to launch this inclusive feature that's going to bring in all members of the community. Because if you cannot afford reserve list cards, reserve list special request is for you. All of these cards on reserve list special request, I'll go over them very closely. All of these cards might as well be your cards. So if you cannot afford, if you do not want to buy reserve list cards, well, just come to reserve list special request. In fact, you can make your own request to reserve list special request by sending an email to TommyTopdecker@gmail.com, and I will feature any card you request on reserve list special request. So there's no need to do illegal things or to sell your soul or to do whatever you can to get money to buy reserve list cards, because the reserve list cards here are for you. Reserve list special request. TommyTopdecker is bringing the reserve list back to the people. So here we go. Today, since this is a brand new feature, I have no request, so I decided to make the first request. The first request on reserve list special request is none other than Gargantuan Gorilla. Gargantuan Gorilla from Alliances. So let's take a close look at this Gargantuan Gorilla. The casting cost is 4 and 3 green. Alright, so that's 7 mana for a 7/7. And if we look at the artwork, I'd say the artwork is pretty good on this card. You have a gorilla in the forest, and it's kind of beating his arms. And you might notice the cool colors on the trees. I think the artist who is Greg Simonson, the artist did quite a good job on this piece. I'd say the art on this card is probably 4 or 5 stars out of 5. You know, definitely this is not one of the most iconic reserve list cards in the history of Magic the Gathering, but overall it's the art is pretty nice. And let's read what the card actually does. It says, during your upkeep, sacrifice a forest or bury Gargantuan Gorilla, and Gargantuan Gorilla deals 7 damage to you. If you sacrifice a snow-covered forest in this way, Gargantuan Gorilla gains trample until end of turn, and you can tap it. Gargantuan Gorilla deals an amount of damage equal to its power to any other target creature. That creature deals an amount of damage equal to its power to Gargantuan Gorilla. So you look at this card and you see it's a 7/7 for 7. And these days, you know, 7/7 for 7 is not such a great card. It's got to do more than fight other creatures. And I'll tell you what, by today's standards, this is not a good card. This is not a card that would ever see play. It would see play in draft probably. You know, if you a top of the curve creature, that's okay. I think you'd see this played in draft somewhat. And in fact, back in the day, you did see it played in draft, Alliances draft. But even back in the day, you know, it didn't really see any tournament play. See, back then, there was this idea, you know, if the Wizards had this design concept. They said, if the creature is big, it's got to have a drawback. So basically, anything bigger than a Crawlworm or a Shivan Dragon had some kind of an upkeep cost or some kind of drawback. You can see it in, like, Lord of the Pit, Gargantuan Gorilla, you know, Demonic Hordes, Leviathan, all those big creatures, they all have some kind of drawback. I guess when they started out, they thought it would be OP. They thought those cards would be too good unless they had a drawback. Well, turns out they're wrong, you know, because those were never powerhouse cards. You know, back in the day, it was always like the Curt Apes and the Hypnotic Specters, you know, like the 1, 2, 3 cost creatures. Maybe like Sarah Angel, Modi at the top of the curve, but beyond that, not much really saw tournament play. So from the beginning, this kind of concept of these big creatures have to have an upkeep cost or a drawback, well, that was not a good idea. But you know, Wizards sure learned. I mean, pretty much, I think after Alliances, you know, you see big creatures and they don't have this kind of this drawback. So Wizards definitely learned from their early days. So let's take another look at this card. Let's look at the back of this card. Now remember, reserve list special request. This is your card, okay? Okay, folks, so there's no complaining about not being able to have this card. This is your card. I'm going over it very closely so everybody can see it and you can all have ownership, okay? This is all yours. So let's take one more look here. Gargantuan Gorilla, reserve list special request. The first reserve list special request. So folks, send in your requests for future reserve list special requests. TommyTopdecker@gmail.com. Going over this Gargantuan Gorilla reserve list special request, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all feel like you own this Gargantuan Gorilla because it's yours. That's what reserve list special request is all about. So it's been Tommy Topdecker with reserve list special request signing out. I'll see you next time. Laters.